Hello everybody, the excitement, the fear, the knowledge of what is at stake. Arsenal against Manchester City tonight as the lights go out on London town in this February night. What stars will shine brightest in the sky in this huge Premier League game? The biggest game of the season so far and probably the biggest game in Arsenal's title challenge as they entertain Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, the title holders Manchester City at the Emirates. I'm no Arsenal fan, I'm certainly no Manchester City fan, but I think if you're a fan of football and you're a fan of the Premier League and what a brilliant Premier League season it's been, then this game tonight is absolutely huge. There are so many permutations. Will the referee, will VAR make an impact? Will injuries make an impact? Will subs make an impact? How is this going to pan out? Which way is it going to go? Well, I'll tell you what, the league table is almost irrelevant. Whether Arsenal are still ahead of Manchester City tonight, whether Man City are ahead of them, Arsenal will still have a game in hand. The title will not be decided tonight, but I think Arsenal have to deliver tonight. If they lose, the psychological damage that will cause to them for the rest of this season, considering they've dropped points to Brentford, they've lost to Everton, there's a cycle here if they don't get a result tonight. But more importantly, any gap, any cushion, any advantage they had over Manchester City would be completely eroded. It is a massive game. And I've got to say, first of all, as we sort of look at this game, and obviously we've got a watch along coming for you tonight, as I look at this game, and it's no consolation for Arsenal, I think this is probably the worst time this season they could play Manchester City. That doesn't mean they can't win the game, but if you look at the Arsenal side from the start of August to probably about 2 weeks ago, any time in that period playing Man City at home, I think they've got a great chance. They're actually playing Man City at their worst period in the season. And I'm not saying it's a bad period. Losing 1-0 to Everton at Goodison Park can happen. Drawing at home to Brentford can happen. I mean, Man City lost at home to Brentford a couple of months ago, so it can happen. But this is the challenge. You can't feel sympathy. You can't feel bad for yourself. This game would have been played earlier in the season. Obviously, it got suspended and rearranged because of the passing of the Queen. It's being played on Wednesday. It's being played today. And Arsenal have known that for a long time. They've got to deliver in this game. It's not the sort of game that you go into and just lick your wounds from the weekend and go, let's turn it on. This is your biggest challenge. It's the biggest game of the Premier League season. And for anybody who doesn't understand that, this is the top two going head to head. This is Arsenal, the pretenders to the crown. This is Manchester City, the holders of the crown. And it's at the Emirates. If this was at the Etihad and Arsenal went there and lost, they've always got it in their back pocket. We've got them at our place to come in a couple of months' time. We just keep doing what we're doing. We bring them back to the Emirates later in the season. We beat them and we'll win that title. They don't have that. In many ways, the advantage is with Manchester City. If they can get a result tonight, they'll be above Arsenal, but they'll also have that game at the Etihad where they know, well, look, they ain't coming to our place and winning. We're experienced. So this is the pressure on Arsenal. And I see all sorts of stuff. I listen to the radio, you listen to mainstream media, you look at social media, and people are saying, wow, there's still so many games left to be played. And there are so many games left to be played. But that you only play Man City at the Emirates once. This is a game that, if you've been in a title race, and I've been in many a title race with Manchester United, and I'm sure many Arsenal fans are old enough to remember their title races, there's certain games, even if you're 15 games out, even if you're 20 games out from the end of the season, there's certain games in a season that you look at and you go, that's a 6-pointer. That's not just 3 points, it's more than 3 points because it's significant, especially if you can beat your rival at home. It's a hammer blow. It's a confidence blow. And Man City are vulnerable. I've said Man City are vulnerable all season. We'll talk about how Arsenal have to deliver, and I think, for me, Arsenal have got to get they've got to get a result out of themselves tonight. They have to do that. They've got to get at least a point. I mean, ideally, they've got to be looking at more than that. I think you've got to be looking at a win. It won't be the end of the world if they don't win, but they certainly cannot put themselves in positions whereby they're not. That they lose the game. I think that would be absolutely horrible for them. But Manchester City, I sense a vulnerability. They've got some brilliant players. They have got some brilliant players. And the trouble with Man City is, if Arsenal lose tonight, you know that Man City will probably go and win their next 6-7 Premier League games in a row. And will Arsenal be able to go and do that? I don't know. But I know Man City can. The hammer blow the dent in their title hopes has to be delivered by Arsenal, because you can't rely on anybody else to do it. Look, Man United beat them. Spurs beat them in the last month, and yet they're still in a position where they can pounce on Arsenal. There ain't going to be many teams that are going to go and beat Man City this season between now and the end of the year, and Arsenal have to deliver that. Man City are vulnerable. You will get chances. Man City are vulnerable. If you shut Haaland down, you tend to shut Man City down. Man City are vulnerable. Kevin De Bruyne isn't having the season he normally does, but they've still got other players that you've got to deal with. Mahrez, Foden, Grealish, these sort of players can just produce a moment, and that's what Pep's been reliant on this season. And you have got to shut Haaland down. Where I think this game will be won and lost, well, there's all sorts of rumours going round, isn't there, that Partey might be injured, that Haaland might be injured, and I think those two out of the game or in the game makes a significant swing to one team or the other. I think Arsenal have got to use this home advantage. They've got to get in the head of Manchester City. Now, I think the big question mark here is, there is no doubt that for me, Arteta will be manager of the year. There is no doubt for me that if Arsenal win the league, this will be a fantastic achievement. But they've got to get at Man City. We've seen Mikel Arteta over the last few weeks bouncing around like he's on a bouncy castle on the touchline, getting in the referee's face. As much as some people don't like that, if he doesn't do that tonight because it's his mate Pep, he's a complete and utter prat. He has got to do that tonight. Of all the game, it's all right doing it at home to Brentford and at home to Manchester United. Those teams aren't going to win the title. Man City are your title rivals, Mikel. You have got to do that tonight. You have got to be bounced. You've got to have more bounce than Zebedee. You've got to do it. You've got to go for it. You've got to get in the referee's face. You've got to get in the touchline's face. You've got to get in the fourth official's face. You've got to get in Pep's face. Who cares if you're friends? Because the one thing that I think Man City have got away with over the years is that nobody's ever wanted to do that. Even Klopp, the rock and roll manager, doesn't want to get in Pep's face. And I don't know why. Because there's a lesson from the past. Wenger was Pep. Arsenal were Man City. You know, they were the best footballing team, but they didn't win the league every year because when Man United played them with Sir Alex, we'd rough them up. We'd get in their head. We'd get in their face. And I think Arteta's got to do that tonight. He's got to get the crowd against Man City. If you let Man City come to the Emirates and go, let's just have a good, fair game of football, Man City will be in their element. They'll get in their zones, they'll play their game, and that'll be it. You've got to rough them up. And by rough them up, I mean shoulder barging. You know, get in their face, get in the referee's face, chase everything down, chase every decision. Look, some people say, well, that's just petulance. I don't care. There needs to be an edge in this game because it's a risk for Arsenal to just go, we're going to go toe-to-toe with them and play football. I think you've got to have an edge, and I think the edge needs to be utilise the crowd, utilise the referee, utilise the atmosphere, and I think Arsenal have to do that. And it'd be very interesting because Arteta has been doing that, but obviously he loves Pep Guardiola. Will he just be a bit too respectful? Because that plays into Pep's hands. I've seen Klopp do that last year as well. Too respectful. Oh, well, let's just have two good teams and with two good managers respect each other and play a game of football. No, let's have somebody absolutely clatter somebody when the ball's there to be won, and then stand over them and go, get up. You know, that I think you need that. I think you do need that, and it's certainly something that worked for Manchester United with Sir Alex Ferguson. But look, I'm so excited about this. It's 7:30 kickoff, so we'll be live on the watch along. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. My prediction is I think it will be a draw. I'm going to go 1-1 with this. But I feel a little bit like the Super Bowl. I wanted the Eagles to win, but I fancied the Chiefs to win it. And I feel a little bit like this. I'd rather Arsenal win, but I actually think Man City have got more chance of winning. I think it will be a draw. You can have a draw in this, though. So I'm going to go with a draw, but I just think I've just got this feeling Man City are going to win. And I think all that financial fair play stuff that they've been charged with, I think that's actually galvanised them and made them, you know, more determined. So there's a mental battle as well as a football battle to be had here. And Arsenal need to utilise that crowd. Get your comments in below, and I'll speak to you later for a massive game. Big watch along. Take care.